Hello and welcome again to the United Enigma. I'm just here with you guys. Gonna go through my match preview for the United versus Bayern Munich game on Wednesday at the Allianz Arena. Now, as you guys can see here, I've got the black mask on because for me, this match is probably gonna be peak. And I won't be surprised, as you can see in the video title, if this is the first nail in the inevitable coffin for Erik ten Hag. Now, United fans, this is not me saying that I want the manager out. However, I'm just being real, I'm just being fair, and I can see he's en route to that point, and it's just a mess at the moment. So again, we're up against Bayern. I'm going to go through my predicted lineup, my formation, what I would do, and also how I think Bayern Munich are going to set up for the game. So look, as you can see here on my right hand side, this is how I believe we should set up. There is talk about Rafa Varane being potentially fit and traveling with the squad this Wednesday. However, I'm also trying to add a little bit of realism in terms of the lineup I predicted here. Ten Hag, he's very difficult to predict. Sometimes he throws players straight back in. Other times, even if you feel like the better player should be ready and available for the game, he'll leave them on the bench because they haven't had the minutes in their legs. So I can very much see Varane still being on the bench. But me personally, even an 80% Champions League Varane is better in a Champions League game to play away from home against Bayern than Linda. I trust Varane even at 80% fitness. Of course, goalkeeper, no changes there. Dalot, I would like to say that the reason why he should be playing is because he seems to be on some sort of decent form at the moment, but when it rains, it pours. That's the slogan here, guys. When it rains, it pours. We find out at the end of the last game that AWB is injured, so irrespective of Dalot's form, we all know who's going to be playing this game anyway. Martinez, I just pray to God that this guy is able to put in anywhere near the same level of performance he did last time he played against Kane, which was, well, the time before last, which was home against Tottenham when we absolutely played him off the pitch and he pocketed Kane. We need another one of those performances and hopefully a resurgence from Leacher on Wednesday night because he's not been looking his greatest. Reguilon, again, I would like to say he deserves to be playing today because of his performance versus Brighton, but Shaw, Malacia, gone. So he's going to be starting irrespective of fitness or form or whatever else. That's going to be the backline I predict anyway. Going into the midfield, this is the most contentious one, quite frankly. I do not see a world in which you could ever dream of going to the Allianz Arena. Let me just quickly switch over for you guys right now. Just quickly switch over and show you. In my opinion, how dare you step into Munich building a midfield of Eriksen and Casemiro as your pivot, coming up against the likes of Müller, Goretzka and Kimmich. You are asking for trouble. Bearing in mind, we got played off the park by a midfield of the likes of Dahoud, which was a free transfer from Dortmund. Dahoud the other day. We got bopped off the park for Billy Gilmore coming on. This caliber of players. Now we're coming up against proven elite, multiple trophy winning players in this midfield, and you want to play Eriksen. And we all know, football fans out there, how industrious German players are. Up and down, powerful players, especially like Goretzka. Imagine there's a 50-50 situation. You think Eriksen's got a prayer of a chance of coming out with the ball? Impossible. So go back to the lineup, and there is talk that Amrabat should be part of the travelling squad for this game. I'm just hoping and praying that's what transpires. We're going to need that guy. We're going to need Amrabat or else we are finito in this midfield. Mason Mount, I believe, will be somewhat fit as well. However, of course, like a lot of fans were saying, in terms of why we even signed the guy, he does a very similar sort of thing to Bruno, but obviously to a much lower level. So starting Mount, at the very least in the midfield, we'll get into his potential position being on the right wing. We'll get into that. But starting Mount in this midfield is not the right way to go. If Mount and Amrabat are both sort of fit in terms of health, but not match fit, and Ten Hag's thinking of playing one of the two instead of Eriksen to add more energy to the midfield, it cannot be Mount. It just can't be. He does not offer the defensive security that will be needed to stop that attacking threat that Bayern have in absolute spades. Absolute spades. Bruno, of course, staple, captain of the team. He's, of course, going to be playing. Casemiro, hey, if this guy doesn't pull up his socks, slap the badge, and remind us of why he's known and being regarded as one of the best CDMs of this current generation of football over the past sort of 5 to 10 years, we're in for trouble and a long evening. Long evening. The front line, going to be Rashford. We'll talk about this guy in a moment. I'll leave him for now. We'll talk about Rashford. Rasmus Højlund, of course, can't have NHS Martial. I'm not talking about COVID times, NHS Martial. I'm talking about the broken man who we currently see on the pitch these days. Garnacho on our right wing. Now, some people may ask him, Garnacho on the right, it's not making sense. I'd agree. It probably doesn't make sense. However, for me personally, again, I told you, I'm looking at this from a more realistic point of view. Is Ten Hag more likely to play Garnacho or Pellistri if he chooses to revert back to the 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3? Me personally, this guy has shown absolutely no interest in playing Pellistri in his natural position, irrespective of the fact that he's clearly one of our only wingers. In fact, probably the only winger that is, he not just has it in his locker to put balls into the box for a striker, he actually wants to do it. It's in his nature. He's more of a pass first, cross first, create first player on the wing. Whereas our other guys, Anthony, who's sort of in a halfway house where he does neither, and Rashford just wants to shoot. Garnacho, for the most part, just wants to shoot, but he's a lot better than Rashford is. We all see Garnacho is able to change directions, got some pace, create an angle. I know he's got a decent cross on him. He should be able to do something there, hopefully. At least if Rashford wants to be greedy, maybe the guy on the other side will provide something for us. Rashford, though, of course he's going to start. Experienced, but his selfish streak has to stop today. I said it before and I'll say it again. Man United are in a precarious position. You would call this, we're on the edge of a precipice. We're facing the cliff and we're literally seeing stones crumbling and falling and plunging into the sea and the abyss below. We're this close to the season being pretty much a write-off. If we get an absolute hiding on Wednesday night, it could be literally the end of the season. Are we going to win the Premier League? That's already dusted. That's one thing out of the way. If we can't at the very least put in a decent display in the next few games, I'm sorry, but Ten Hag probably won't make it till Christmas. That's not me saying that. That's just the pressure that's going to pile up on him. Because if you've been keeping track of the current talk on social media, as time's been progressing, I'm sure you guys have been seeing it. It started off, majority of the fan base very much adamant. Ten Hag stays, not Ten Hag out. Give him time, give him time. But slowly but surely, if you go through and see polls from United fans, you see it going 70-30. 60-40, we're literally approaching the 50-50 mark within the fan base. It's almost getting to the point where it's a split decision where half the people may soon be looking to have Ten Hag out. And once it becomes that vocal majority, that's when his days are numbered. So if we don't start picking up wins and players like Rashford prioritizing the team, getting the dub, as opposed to us, his individual accolades, stats, whatever, we are in for a long season. You guys better strap in. Better strap in. Got to quickly have a look at the Bayern lineup, see what they're saying. Have a look across. So this team here, you want to talk about a team that's frightening. And you know the funny thing is, this just shows you the level of the two teams over the last few years. This Bayern team you see right now is actually one of the weakest you can probably remember over the last few years. Bayern, this current Bayern, this is their version of underperforming. Keeping in mind, this is a club that went to the Champions League final maybe about 3 years ago and won the Champions League. This is one of the worst Bayern teams we've seen in a long time now. Their worst their worst is what Manchester United are looking to get back to. Quite frankly, I'll tell you that right now. So they've got might predict them to basically start with a similar sort of lineup to what they started against Bayer Leverkusen. Of course, they're one of the top teams at the moment. Xabi Alonso's doing a good job for Bayer Leverkusen at the moment. So I predict, of course, the same stronger lineup they started against Leverkusen. They'd look to probably do that again, replicate the performance potentially against us as well. So I've gone with this lineup, which is what they played. Gnabry on the left, Kane up front, Sane, Thomas Muller. We all know about him. Thomas Muller, I like to identify him. He is the key threat we need to be looking out for. A lot of people may actually be surprised by that. They may be surprised by that. They may think, oh, but Kane's the most threatening. What about Sane? We saw him in the Premier League. We know how good he is. Remember what Gnabry's been doing routinely against English teams, what he did against Arsenal, what he did versus Tottenham. Yeah? Remember the types of goals United have been conceding this year. I'm sure you guys remember, right? Third man runs into the box. And our midfielders or the fullbacks not making recovery runs to track these runners into the box. And what is Muller famed for? Self-proclaimed Muller. He knows he's not the most physically gifted. He's not the most stylish on the ball, sexy rainbow flicks, Cruyff turns. He ain't got that in his locker, really. But here, you struggle to find a player that has got a better football brain than Muller. He literally has his own term coined in the German language for his position, a Raumdeuter, meaning space finder. So if there was ever a player that could punish us in this game, it's going to be the guy that's a master of finding space in the opposition box, where Man United currently are completely and utterly incapable of stopping people invading our box. It's a home invasion. Every single game this season has been a home invasion in that box. Onana's taking licks, shot after shot after shot. Shot after shot. The guy has had 30 shots. In fact, no, he's not quite 30. 29 shots on goal this season alone within the first 5 games. Whereas David De Gea, the same point in the season, he'd only had 10 shots at him. And you guys tell me why I'm worried mostly about Thomas Muller as opposed to anyone else. But quickly moving on. Leon Goretzka and Joshua Kimmich. Technical ability in spades. Energy in spades. Industry. Goretzka can cover ground. Again, another player that's very good at finding space in the box. So now that's a second player now. Of course, we all know Kane, about Kane's positioning, his ability. But you know, Kane tends to be the type of player that he may drop back, play a bit more of a role of a false nine at times. So he may not necessarily be the person. And we do tend to keep the actual main striker in a match quite quiet. But the main issue will be those people that aren't being picked up. The Goretzkas and Mullers. Those are the key areas. And obviously Kimmich just stringing the balls together, just knitting up play. So if Casemiro and hopefully Amrabat aren't on their job covering these men, we could get popped. It could be 3-0 at halftime and I wouldn't even bat an eyelid. I wouldn't be shocked. Another key threat for this match. Another key threat. It is most definitely, for me, Alphonso Davies. This is not down to necessarily just, you know, Davies hype. Davies hype, of course, a lot of people regard him as being one of the best fullbacks in the world. It's not just that. We all know the qualities he can bring. We've seen it in the Champions League. We've seen it over the past few years. But it all coincides with what I spoke about before. Our inability to stop cutbacks and third man runs. Bayern Munich, this is a team for years and years now. They've been famed for their ability to create chances via high octane attacking wing play. They've got quick technical wingers in Gnabry and Sane, and they've got Davies just knitting that all together. Dalot is going to be the right back, of course, playing in this game. If he does not get support, it will become a problem real quick. We have seen fullbacks and wingers, far worse even than Davies and Gnabry, tear us apart on the flanks this season, cutback after cutback after cutback. So now you want to present Alphonso Davies doubling up on our fullbacks and the width. If we do not track that man, we are dusted either on transition or even in build-up, balls in behind. Davies supplying either Kane, Muller making runs, Goretzka making runs. This left-hand side of the pitch, I believe, if we don't have that on lock, I don't even want to think about it. I don't want a situation where I'm contemplating switching the game off at halftime. I just don't want to do it. And that could easily happen. Kim Min-jae, the one that got away, that's all I can say about this guy. We're meant to be in for him. Lost out to Bayern Munich. Thank the Glazers for that, you guys. You can thank him. They can thank them for that. Kim Min-jae, he's looked solid for them at the moment. He's been very good. He's keeping, I believe, Lucas Hernandez out. Of course, he's not necessarily the best defender in the world, but he's been quite good for them. Keeping him out of the team has been very good. Great in terms of passing on the ball. So that's obviously another avenue that could be quite threatening. Upamecano is the designated weak link, the one that we need to exploit. Thankfully, he's actually plays on the right hand side of their defense, which is obviously where Rashford operates on. Højlund, being left footed, would likely drift into that left hand side half space at times more often. So he's the main person that we need to isolate, along with Konrad Laimer. He's not a natural fullback, he's actually more of a central midfielder or CDM, as he was playing for Leipzig. So that right hand side of Bayern and our left hand side coupled with Højlund, and maybe whether it's a Bruno operating that left hand side, we need to really attack that side of the pitch, because that's where they're weak. That is where they are weakest, and we can get joy out there as long as we're really mashing work, doing what we need to do. Reguilon's getting forward at times, Rashford's moving there, Højlund and Bruno are supporting on that side as well. That's, I believe, is where we need to target, and we can get something out of them. Bayern are good, of course. They're better than us at the moment, but they're not infallible. This is not the Bayern of a few years ago that was dismantling teams, 10 goals on aggregate, Lewandowski bagging goals for fun, unstoppable in midfield. Their wingers were performing at a higher level than they are currently, and they just looked unstoppable in that. Even if you think about it, even in terms of their league performance, they aren't the same completely bulletproof Bayern that we've seen in years gone past. As much as they're still winning their league, it's more narrow wins. Even last season, going down to the almost final whistle to clinch the title away from Dortmund. So this is not the same Bayern team. As much as they've made some changes and they've improved overall, there's still issues. There's murmurings of discontent with the manager as well. Not to our same degree, but there's still murmurings. Not everyone's happy with the appointment of Tuchel. But as you can see here, another avenue that could be an issue in terms of this Bayern game is the fact that they're very effective from set pieces. And if you have a look again, back at the United lineup, what do you see here? A distinct lack of players that offer any sort of aerial dominance. I can very much see a world where we've kept it tight, we're defending very well, and we've actually managed to nullify Bayern somehow. Then all of a sudden, in the latter stages of the game, good set piece from Joshua Kimmich, and we get cooked last minute in typical United fashion. Similar sort of situation to what Declan Rice did against us, and we get packed at the last minute. Very much see that happening, and it's standard procedure at the moment. Because look, yes, Højlund adds some height, that sort of element to us. For a man that's about 6 foot tall, I believe, he's not actually that aerially dominant. In terms of the aerial duels percentage he wins, he's not that good. I think only around the 40 to 50th percentile in terms of in his position. He's not very dominant in the air. He adds something, but he's more of a presence as opposed to someone that's going to command that space. Casemiro, yes, we know is great in the air. Rashford, again, the guy's about 6'1", but he spends most of his time ducking out headers, so don't expect him to do anything in that situation. Bruno, he's actually pretty decent in the air. He definitely puts himself about in the contest, but he's not exactly, again, dominant. Reguilon, okay. Dalot, he's pretty damn good. Lindelof, Martinez, he's aggressive, but you know, the height issue, he's not exactly going to be Varane, for example. So what? Out of the entire team, we're looking at 3, maybe 4 players max. Might even do a 0.5, 4.5 players out of an 11 or a 10 outfield players that are actually aerially dominant. But look across at Bayern. Kane offers you something in the air. Muller, Goretzka, Kim Min-jae, Upamecano. That's 5, and that's not just 5 players that are, you know, quite good in the air. These are serious aerial threats, either in terms of finding space like a Muller and actual heading ability, or just straight up dominance like a Kane or a Goretzka or a Kim Min-jae. These are the kind of players that can just absolutely just tower over all our players in the box and just dominate the entire airspace. This is very much a game where Man United need to prioritize playing on the ground, because if we're trying to do balls where it's lofted up to aimless balls to Højlund, aimless balls to Rashford, they're going to gobble everything up in the air. Easy work. Easy work. Match prediction. I'm going to do it now for you guys. I'm going to have to do the shameless thing. I can't predict a United win wearing this mask. I'm sorry to say, guys, I can't be that shameless. I always try to, you know, all you guys, man, that go gym, roll your shoulders back, puff your chest out, beat your chest a little bit, and speak about your club. That's what I like to do. But these men don't ever let me do that. When I do it versus Brighton, boom. I do it when we play Arsenal, boom. So now I'm going to have to drop the ego, and because of them, I'm going to have to bring my standards back down to their current level. The best I can see from this, and I guess I say we have to take it, away at the Allianz Arena, 1-1. Hopefully a goal from Højlund. Get the 1-1. We'll take it. Going back to Old Trafford, hopefully by then we've got all injury issues out the way. Maybe we've improved in our current style of play with our first team out. Who knows? Get the 3 points at the Old Trafford. That's all I can hope for. Can't see us winning this game, but I can see us being destroyed. I hope that we can at least get a draw out of this game. You guys leave in the comment section what you think are the key areas that we can exploit from Bayern, the main threats from our opposition, and also what you would do with this starting 11 of Manchester United. Do you think Ten Hag will continue with the 4-1-2-1-2 narrow, the diamond? I believe if he does, it's near enough an instant loss, because as we discussed, on the width, we will get ripped to shreds. If the likes of Lallana, the likes of Welbeck, the likes of, I can't remember the right winger's name for Brighton, him, their fullbacks who aren't exactly elite, Estupinian wasn't even playing. If they could rinse us on the width, just imagine what these guys are going to do to us on the wide. Let's hope and pray the diamond doesn't come out again, because for Man United, diamonds are not forever, I'll tell you that much. In a bit, you man, nice hearing from you. Drop in the comment section what you believe this game is going to be, how you think it's go. Will we get destroyed? Will Ten Hag outtrend again? That's the main question. Tell me in the comment section below. Like, subscribe, comment, and drop it. In a bit, you man.